So, a guy emails me the other day and said I could share this, but to keep his name anonymous. He said his family, I guess, lived in a small town in West Virginia for generations, right at the edge of the Appalachian Mountains. His grandmother used to tell them stories that sounded more like rules than folklore. She said if you ever see the lights in the hills that weren't there the day before, don't follow them. Don't even look at them too long. He said he never really believed her. He figured they were just trying to scare kids into staying close to home. But there was one night back in 2006 when something happened that he still doesn't like to talk about. He was 17. It was early spring and the valley had flooded from 2 days of rain. His mom worked nights, so he was home a lot, just him and his younger brother. They had a little dog too that I guess barked at everything. At night, the house felt weird, still, quiet, like the air wasn't moving around. So around 9:30, the power flickers and then went out completely. They lit a few candles and tried to, I guess, text his mom, but there was no signal. So he and his brother just sat there in the living room with the dog curled up between them. And that's when the dog perked up. Ears were stiff, no growling, just alert. He went to the window to look outside, and up in the hills behind their property, he saw them. Three soft, flickering lights, spaced evenly, like they weren't following a trail. He thought maybe it was flashlights or ATVs, but there was no sound, and the light didn't move like a flashlight. It pulsed, faintly. Not bright enough to be fire, but not steady like lanterns either. So his brother stood beside him. He says, why are there people up there? And he responds, he's like, I don't know. I don't think there should be. And his brother said something that chilled him. He said, I saw those lights last week. They were way up the mountain then. Why are they closer now? And that's when he remembered what his grandmother used to say about the lights that shouldn't be there. He tried to laugh it off, but the dog started whining. Not barking, whining. And then it ran to the back door and just stared. Just stared, tail down, ears flat. They closed the blinds and tried to forget about it. But around 2 a.m., they heard a knock at the back door. Not loud, just soft, like someone was waiting for them to answer. They didn't. The lights were gone the next morning. The power came on. Nothing else happened. But that night left a scar on him. He said he doesn't know what those lights were and who was knocking crazy on the back door. Could have been someone messing around. Could have been something else. But his grandma always said, the lights in the hills aren't meant for you. If you see them, pretend you didn't. And if they knock, don't open the door. He hasn't seen them since, but he never looks up at the hills after dark anymore. So if you enjoyed this story, give me a like below.